People, welcome back to 888sport Football Friday Live. My name is Hugh Wizzy and I'm delighted that you guys could join us for another action-packed show with an all-star studded cast for our panel. To my left, we have our European expert, Andy Brassell. Welcome back, sir. Welcome back.
How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. It's good to have you back here again. We've got a lot to talk about, especially with the Champions League and Europa Cup semi-finals being announced. We've also got the self-styled King of the North in the building, David Priest, former Sunderland and Aberdeen goalkeeper and goalkeeping coach, and the most lusted after Lothario this side of London. It is our main man
According
on social media. According to your late night escapades, my dear friends. It's Richie Driss on the social. How is everyone doing? Everyone good?
Great, mate. Great.
Top notch.
Cracking. Let's move straight on. We have a lot to talk about today, including reflecting on the genius that is Cristiano Ronaldo, rewriting the history books yet again. We're going to be discussing what exactly is next for Jack Wilshere in his up and down career, another injury scare for him. We're going to be talking about Jurgen Klopp backtracking on the likes of Sarko and Mignolet, and a hell of a lot more, including reaction to those European draws. Here's what's coming up on today's show.
I've spoken to my coaching team, Rayo Faria and the bold one, and I've decided I'm going to run for election on June 8th.
Difficult to put it into one because at the end of the day, the one that everyone remembers is the 5-1 England.
I feel in danger standing anywhere near.
Yeah, you're fine. Not unless you put yourself in goal.
My commitment is total and only focused on Arsenal.
During the last World Cup, he remarked that Portugal would have done better if they'd been able to call on a few more Ronaldos. Just because it was humble doesn't mean it wasn't true.
He's a fantastic goalkeeper, the goalkeeper of the English national team, so highest quality.
He's coming back with his happiness, and we are so happy he's back again.
Now, as per usual, this show is interactive as they come, and we want you guys to get involved as well, and with more news on how you can do that. And today's vote, it's Richie on the social.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Hugh. Now, after what can only be described as a tactical masterclass from Jose Mourinho last Sunday when Manchester United beat Chelsea 2-0 at Old Trafford. Yes, that's right, Manchester United actually beat Chelsea 2-0 at Old Trafford. We want to know who is the best Premier League manager at the moment. So if you're involved on Facebook, hit the heart button for Antonio Conte of Chelsea. It can't be him, surely, after Sunday. Hit the laughing face for Manchester United's mighty Jose Mourinho. The sad face for Manchester City's Pep Guardiola, and the wow face for Tottenham's Mauricio Pochettino. Of course, we have left a couple out. You'll be shocked to see we haven't included Arsene Wenger in our vote. But of course, drop us a comment using the hashtag 888FFL if you're involved on Twitter as well. Gents, what do you think?
No, Wenger. That's my thing.
Shock.
No, in all seriousness, Guardiola against Mourinho is a little bit up in the air as to whether both of those should be on there right now.
Okay.
I think there'll be a lot of Liverpool fans who'll think Klopp should be on there. Personally, for this season, if we're going off this season, I'll have Tony Pulis in there.
Big Tone!
Big Tony. Yeah, they've got that play. Well, it's all relative, isn't it? Success, so I think he's done a great job this season. And also, I know he's only been there a few months, but Marco Silva as well at Hull.
Indeed,
Yeah,
incredible home record, right?
I think Poch out of those, though.
I
I know I'm not really in the right seat to say that, but...
No, by all
Has to
means,
be him.
there's no harm done, except I may well be unfollowing you on Twitter later on. Let's talk about the Champions League draw. Monaco, the most free-flowing, free-scoring club in European football right now, taking on the stalwarts of Juventus and the Madrid derby. Massive games, as it gets this stage, they all are. But who do you think is going to come out on top? It's two very interesting ties.
Yeah, they are. And I think I was saying to you earlier, wasn't I, that Real Madrid's performance in the second half of the first leg at Bayern, of course, there's been a lot of talk about the referee. In the second part, it's the best performance I've seen from anyone this season. They're amazing. And in that 45 minutes, they convinced me that they can be the first team to retain the Champions League. Obviously, they undid a little bit of that in the second leg, and Atletico are still Atletico. I think it'd be really interesting because there were definite points in the final last year where you felt that Real Madrid were flagging, and they were carrying Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale, who were in poor physical nick for quite a lot of it. Real Madrid played more like Atletico than Atletico did to try and get everyone behind the ball. So maybe that can give Atleti a bit of daylight over the two legs. For the other one, I mean, Monaco are the best team to watch in Europe, but Juventus have just been mightily impressive the whole way through, and not even conceded a goal in the knockouts.
Unbelievable record. Let's talk about Manchester United. They're through, only just, or at least it started to kind of improve when Zlatan went off, ironically.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about Rashford before the game, and I'm not getting this other question over. I mean, there was even a lot of on Twitter yesterday, a lot of talking about Rashford being a fraud. I mean, and I'm not sure where all this is coming from. And people, I mean, it's the same people who are talking about Carrick being underrated or Zlatan not being able to do it when he comes over here. It's a nonsense, really. But he proved yesterday. I mean, Paul Scholes said it before the game. He pointed him out, and he proved to be the decisive factor. But I think you look over the two games, they more than deserved it last night. They come up against a great goalkeeper who kept them at bay for long periods.
The save he made from Pogba's header was outstanding. There have been suggestions that a couple of them were for the cameras, but he was really good, I thought. And the young guy they have in the middle, Tielemans,
yeah,
he looks incredible for a kid of his age. So aware, passing is bang on, he's up for the challenge, he can shoot with both feet, brilliant player.
No, you can appreciate their performance. They were under the cosh for a lot of the game, and I think that whatever they went into the game thinking, at the end of the game, I think if they'd have come out on top, if they got a draw or they'd come out winning on penalties, I wouldn't have had any arguments because it was a superb defensive performance.
There's been suggestions that United and Jose especially have been over-reliant on Zlatan Ibrahimovic. The amount of chances he had against Anderlecht and the way that the game it was energised by Rashford coming on, Martial being out wide. Are they a better side without Zlatan?
You can make that argument, Hugh, and I think especially coming hot on the heels of the Chelsea game, like Richie was saying, the movement was so much better and they were so much more exciting. And Zlatan is the sort of player who encourages dependence on him, and always has at all his previous clubs, really. And you know, that's one of the reasons you could say why he didn't fit at Barcelona, because he's not a collective kind of guy. He's developed in a lot of ways. He's much better at mentoring young players. That's something he became very good at Paris Saint-Germain. But you know, they're a very different side without him in as well, even if they miss him in a dressing room sense, I think. So there's definitely an argument for getting rid of Zlatan. He just covers up a multitude of sins while they're trying to get their stuff together.
He's done a job. Let's not beat around the bush.
He's done an incredible job.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
does he stop the side developing? Is the question.
And also reportedly, having hyperextended his knee, he's going to be out for the remainder of the season. That's going to bring into question some of the contract offers he's been obviously been thrown at over the last couple of months. They've been trying to convince him for another year. I know LA Galaxy are involved. Chinese investment is all over the world now.
Napoli.
Is it possible that he's actually played his last game for Manchester United already?
Yeah, for Man United, there's a distinct possibility. I mean, you said about a lot of the contract offers there, that if they're not being retracted, they're definitely being revised. Right. But at the same time, even at his age, he's in supreme physical condition. The medical advances means that it's not a career-ending injury, even at his age. I think that it'd be a big sort of outlay for them to go into next season with him still recovering and not being ready and not being fully fit to start the season.
There's unconfirmed reports that Zlatan is out for the season, but officially Jose Mourinho said yesterday, I want to wait, but my feeling is not good for both Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Marcus Rojo. I want to try to be optimistic, but I'm not.
Well, this is the thing about he's out for the rest of the season. I mean, that could mean anything. That could be he's out for 6 weeks, or does it mean he's out for 6 months with a cruciate injury? It depends what. You can't read too much into that in the seriousness.
Have we got an update with Rojo as well?
Nothing, as I said, unconfirmed. Nothing confirmed.
He's already got Smalling missing, Jones is missing. But this is a problem now.
Yeah, it is, but also he's pushed a few buttons in that respect, because he said he's laid the gauntlet down to Smalling and Jones because they can't be far away now, and he's more or less said, well, you know, now it's time to bite the bullet and try and get through the small injuries that got them in it. Right,
now it is with heavy heart that we change the tone slightly just to pay our respects to a fallen soldier who we learned the passing of today, and that is former Aston Villa, Middlesbrough Rangers centre-back Ugo Ehiogu, an England international who it turns out was actually a really genuinely nice guy and has put things into perspective for me a lot today, because A lot of the time with football, it's extremely opinionated, individualistic, and tribal. These rival clubs today coming together on social media to pay their respects. Tottenham tweeting out a quote from the centre-back, and even Arsenal showing that they had their club, Tottenham, in their thoughts, and the family, of course. We want to pay our respects, basically, to an England international. And Steve Bruce, Aston Villa manager, did the same. He obviously has a lot of experience with Hugo. Here's what he had to say.
Well, I think we're all shocked and devastated by the news of somebody so young, who very, very quietly was making his way as a very talented coach, what I've been hearing. And for everybody at Villa, somebody who I played against in the '94 Cup final, seen him and watched him for many, many years, and played nearly 10 years here before he went on to have another great career at Middlesbrough. What sent Middlesbrough on their way too. When you consider, I think Big Ron bought him for something like £40,000. What a bargain that is in terms of being a footballer. And being a fella centre-half, he was uncompromising, quick. All of the football world will be shocked and saddened. We've just had a couple in there who've devastated to hear the news, like all of us. And of course, in these moments that you think of his family and people around him who, at 44, is quite shocking news and a tragedy, and puts football into perspective.
Very sad news, and I'm sure that great respects will be paid at the Villa-Birmingham game this weekend. I know that he was under-23 defensive coach for Tottenham. He's meant to be a great coach. Everyone seems to speak really highly of him. It's a sad loss.
Yeah, it is, and I guess what you can say from the Spurs perspective is there is a legacy, and they're feeling that already. You had Josh Onoma saying that he would do his best to honour his memory, and there are lots of young players coming through as well. Pochettino is the right coach to bring them through, and there was obviously a good connection between Pochettino and Echiog. They're really on the same page, and he's a part of the Tottenham story, and it's very possible that as time goes by, it could become even more part of the Tottenham story as these players develop and get better and become part of the first team picture.
He's someone that during his career was obviously known for being incredibly physical, battle hardy, but it turns out he's actually quite a gentle giant. I see his last tweet is just a moment of real kindness where he's gone and given some charitable donation to a homeless person, just randomly. Is there something that we can take from this? Because I know that football separates people so much. It also brings us together at moments like these, though.
You're right. I think when somebody famous or well-known dies, we kind of eulogise about the persona and about the public persona and about who they were to us. What we're seeing now is people coming forward and telling us about the man behind the player we knew.
Right.
Not only does he coach young lads to be footballers, but he coached them to be good men as well. He taught them as much about how important it is to be off the pitch, to be a good person off the pitch, than it was to be a good player. And he just said, by all the players who have come through the ranks and been coached under him, how much they mean to him, and they want to do well for him. And it's a sign of him as a man. Like you said, it's occasions like this when football's divisive and rivalries, it teaches us that they mean nothing really, and everyone comes together. And that tweet, it's a small part of his legacy, because if somebody sees that tweet today and walks past somebody in need and sticks a £5 in the cup or a 10 or something like that, then that's him living on.
That's what we're all about, spreading the good energy, and more good energy coming up now. Richie, I just want a quick update on the social. Have you got any questions or comments coming in that we've been answering?
A ton. Concerning Hugo Echiog, we've had a couple of tweets. His last tweet summed him up. Underappreciated but superb centre-back. That's from Gaz Island. And from Andy Cooper, for that bicycle kick winner against Celtic alone, he'll be a Rangers legend forever. Regarding our vote, who is the best Premier League manager? you've got involved in your droves. David Levy has said Pochettino, the best manager in the Premier League, brings through young homegrown players as well as buying in players like Dele Alli, who only cost $5 million. Mark Hislop says Mourinho, I think he's done very well. He's already won a cup and there's possibility for more. And Joey Allen has said that the best Premier League manager must be Marco Silva. Good shout.
Fantastic. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo is a man who is no stranger to breaking records, yet again scoring another Champions League hat-trick against Bayern on Wednesday night. And he's also become the first player to score 100 Champions League goals. And for that, our very own Dion Fanning decided to delve a little bit deeper and find out exactly what makes the Portuguese man tick.
It was said of Orson Welles that he was a self-made man, and boy, how he loved his maker. Cristiano Ronaldo has fought for everything he has. The son of an alcoholic father, he had to use his own wits to get where he is, and how he admires the man responsible for that. He has had benefactors, Alex Ferguson, George Mendes, but he has never been reluctant to honour the man behind his rise, Cristiano Ronaldo. During the last World Cup, he remarked that Portugal would have done better if they'd been able to call on a few more Ronaldos. Just because it wasn't humble doesn't mean it wasn't true. When Portugal beat France in the European Championships final, Ronaldo was on the sideline, coaching his side, who managed to win without even one Ronaldo on the pitch. But that didn't matter. The force was with them. They were guided by their maker on the sideline, who believed he was responsible for it all. His hat-trick for Real Madrid this week took him to 100 Champions League goals, but still some booed. Real Madrid play Barcelona at the weekend, a game which will provide another opportunity to engage in the latest version of the tiresome parlour game, who is better, Messi or Ronaldo? This has subtly altered shape in recent months and become a story of their decline. Who is ageing better? Who will last longer? These are the questions which some now ask about two players who remain lethal. Ronaldo still believes that the man to solve every problem is one or more Ronaldos. There will come a day when that's no longer true, but that time is not now. Instead, maybe we should just rejoice in all that Ronaldo does. That's certainly what Ronaldo is going to be doing.
Now, we're not doing this to throw shade at Lionel Messi, but more so to show how Cristiano Ronaldo has matured, how he's developed, how he has basically adapted his game to manage with the changes in his own physicality. Obviously, he's lost a touch of pace. However, it would appear that he's being deployed very cleverly, and he can therefore keep these incredible statistical records going. Another hat-trick in the Champions League.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how a player needs to adapt to flourish in this way. I mean, Alan Shearer may seem a weird comparison, but he did that really well. When he took a couple of bad injuries, took away a bit of his pace, he just muscled up and turned into a posh Mark Hughes. And it was great. You know, it really made him, you know, one of the greatest strikers in recent European history. And I guess Ronaldo's reality check, in a sense, was the 2014 World Cup.
Right.
There always comes a time, I think, when you play that much, just as Lionel Messi did when you hit a wall. Messi hit his in 2013. Ronaldo started to hit his in 2014, when he was a bit of a passenger in the Champions League final, when he played the World Cup and said, in retrospect, in his biopic, that he shouldn't have. And this was the point where, I mean, I've watched a lot of Cristiano Ronaldo, having spent a lot of time with the Portuguese national team at close quarters at major championships. And the interesting thing about him, he doesn't have a 99% button for training. And I think it would drive you mad as a coach, because you would think someone who you rely on that much, if it's the day before a big game, take it easy. But you know, he'd not only G everyone else up, demand everything from everyone else, but he'd give it his all, go into crazy tackles, all this sort of stuff that you wouldn't want him to do. But he's such a 100%er. Whereas during the World Cup, he was so hobbled. He couldn't do anything. He came out, did some yoga stretches, jog around the pitch, and then put another bandage on his knee. And that was it. And I think that represented some sort of epiphany for him, that he said, well, you know what, I'm not going to be someone who can physically crush everything in my opposition for the rest of my career. It's going to have to change. And maybe Steven Gerrard, for example, didn't have that moment, and it took him a while to realise that he couldn't be classic Gerrard forever. You know, he always had the passing to be a deeper midfielder, but it took a longer time to get inside his brain that he could do that. And so almost this injury situation has worked in Cristiano's favour, and in the last year and a half especially, he's become the ultimate penalty box player, and that is what's going to make him carry on and on and on.
We saw Ryan Giggs adapt to play instead of on the wing. He got into the centre, didn't rely on his pace as much, and became, in a way, more selfless, setting up other players. Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo's got the personality to become selfless? Because obviously he's, if anything, moved further forward to be a bit of a goal hanger. But do you reckon he could do the other as well? To adapt?
I'm not convinced that's the case. His relationships around him in the team will change. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And when he moves permanently into the middle, the person will probably get squeezed at Real Madrid is Karim Benzema. Because Benzema's survived at Real Madrid so long because he's the best foil for Ronaldo. He's a very intuitive 1-2 touch player and he's created more goals for him than anyone else apart from Mesut Ozil. But you know, as long as he can do what he does in the penalty box, I don't think setting up other people or anything like that really matters. I mean, he's over the hero complex. That's him evolving and adapting, and you know, especially the way his international teammates treat him. I mean, when you spend time around the Portugal team, the notable thing was, as time went by, maybe reaching a peak with Euro 2012, is these guys who'd grown up with him treat him like a god. They don't really treat him like a mate anymore. And that's not a healthy situation. And as Portugal have moved away from that a little bit, they changed the way they played to cope with the fact he doesn't run as much and they don't want him to do as much running. That brought them to the point where they actually won the Euros.
He's coped that responsibility well, though, because if he wasn't doing his job, then the pressure would be on him from the rest of the team, because they're there to serve him, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
And like we said, it's very rare you see a person move further forward up the pitch as they get older.
Yeah.
They normally drop back. And I think it's important what you say about with the injuries there as well. Early on in his career, he'd hold on the ball too long. He'd be trying tricks. He'd give people a chance to kick him. When I watched him at FC Copenhagen years ago, he was very centred on himself and just getting the ball, picking up and just running with it until he either got past the defender or he lost it or they tackled him. When he's adjusted his game to be more clever, so that doesn't happen to him. That he's not there to be hacked at, and it's a big factor in his success now, and the fact that he might even go until he's 40 because he hasn't had these injuries.
I mean, 40 to me, that's pushing it a bit. We're talking another 8-9 years, but is the fact that he's built in a very different way to Lionel Messi, could that possibly see, and all the positioning that you're talking about as well, could that see him kind of outlast Lionel? Longevity is something that's going to be on their minds now that they're into their 30s, and we're seeing like not the decline of these guys, I don't think, but the adapting. Do you think that he'll be able to outlast Lionel?
Maybe. I mean, Messi started to evolve as well, just in a more subtle way, because now you've got, in the last couple of years, you've got Neymar and Suarez. They're more direct players. They do more running for him, and they allow him to drop into deeper spaces and pick the passes. I mean, you look in that first leg against Juventus, and the most dangerous moments were Messi making passes. Does this mean that Ronaldo will accelerate past Messi in terms of goals? Yes, I think it probably will, but I don't think it will necessarily make him last longer. But I guess, again, the question is whether that Barcelona front three stays together, whether Neymar stays there long term.
Do you think Messi could drop even deeper to become like the
Xavi or something
exactly,
like that?
Yeah.
I'd break my little heart, but you know, it's hard to rule
Stick him
anything
in
out.
goal.
Pep would play him in goal if he could.
He's great with the ball at his feet, right?
He would do.
Now, Cristiano has been very lucky throughout his career with injuries, and someone that was highlighting that recently was Arsene Wenger yesterday at his press conference. Someone that's not been so lucky is Jack Wilshere, and the Arsenal manager was talking about not only the possibility of giving a different answer to this question that he's posed every week about his contract, but also whether Wilshere will be getting one himself. Here's what he had to say.
Of course, the news broke yesterday that Jack Wilshere has broken his leg. Have you spoken to him about it?
Not recently, no, because I follow the situation closely because he sees a specialist. We think it's a very simple fracture that doesn't need any surgery at all, and that hopefully he will be back. He will be back in July for normal training. It's a very simple fracture, you know, and of the fibula, and that we need patience, and let's hope that all goes well.
Have you told your players or potential new signings that you're staying at the club for 2 more seasons?
No,
You've not told them, or you're not staying?
I didn't tell anything to anybody.
Can we expect an update soon on your future?
No, update is my commitment is total and only focused on Arsenal.
I just find it amazing. Every week he has a new way of wriggling out of this question. No, you didn't tell me that. Okay, we've got to cover Kolasinac for a second. Schalke left.
Can we have Paxman do Wenger at some point though? It's the only way he's
It's
going
the
to
only
break.
way we're going to get an answer out of him.
The unstoppable force against the immovable object.
It's like a competition where you're not allowed to say yes, and you've got to ask them questions, and he's stone cold, isn't he? You know what I mean?
Rumour has it that Kolasinac's agent, this guy's Schalke left back / centre back, who is reported to have signed a pre-contract with Arsenal. His father / agent has come out and said that he has been told that Wenger will be there next year. We're speculating again. I really want to concentrate more on Wiltshire. It's really quite sad. He's very talented, and I know that everyone seems to think that he is a living meme, but the fact of the matter is he's been very unlucky with what are impact injuries, and it's not something that, you know, I think is down to a lack of training or anything. He's literally just been quite unlucky.
Sorry, go on.
No, you.
No, it's quite frustrating for me. Jack Wilshere's probably not my favourite player, you know, and I probably don't rate him as highly. He's a very good footballer, don't get me wrong, do you know what I mean? But I think the way that people see him in his injuries, they see it as some sort of like a mental weakness,
Right.
as if he's got any choice in it, in being injured. These aren't soft muscle, soft tissue injuries. These are broken bones and ruptured ligaments.
Right.
You know, and people might say, "Oh, he's on this much money a week." You know, it doesn't matter. If you're not kicking the ball about, you're not a footballer. If you're not a footballer, then you've got no identity, and then you're just going into a gym every day and doing a few weights, and that's hard to take. It's a difficult situation to handle, especially when you spend as much time as he is on the up.
I mean, what I find really sad about it is that it's just yet another example of unfulfilled potential. You've got someone here who could have really done wonders in England's midfield had he had, you know, a couple of seasons even where he went uninjured. Just doesn't seem to have been able to do that.
That is true, but on the other hand, that kind of thinking, which I think is an opinion a lot of people share, that sense of sadness and frustration, has cut him quite a lot of slack. If he wasn't
Right.
if he wasn't English, and we were talking about this in the Premier League context, people would simply say he's rubbish.
Well, you say that, right? But ironically
they
enough,
would say that, wouldn't
Arsenal
they?
had this
And say
exact
he's a
situation
waste
with
of time.
Diaby. We have an English Diaby on our hands now, really, where we are
Yeah,
allowing
yeah.
someone to basically sit out for half the season or whatever it is, and paying them top whack. Is it sensible for Wenger to pay him another, or to offer him another 80 to 120 grand a week contract?
No way.
Or do we just cut our losses here and move on and find someone who's, you know, of that, or if not a better level?
I think it is sad, but he's never going to be a guy you're going to build the Arsenal team around, is he now? So, yeah, I think you have to move on reluctantly.
Sad times.
Got very
Richie,
good
shoot,
question.
hit me.
Yeah, very good question. You did just sort of cover it. To what extent do you think injuries have impacted Jack Wilshere's career? Judging by his early performances, would he be that much of a better player now without the injuries? That's from Rory.
It's all speculation, isn't it? We can only
Yep.
guess as to what he could have achieved already. But, you know, there was so much promise. It's just become a little bit predictable now.
The question marks are there, though, the same as they are with Rooney, whether his lifestyle is a reflection of his recovery from injuries.
He hasn't done himself any favours.
Not at all, and I know from my time as playing, when you got a bad injury, it felt like the world was over. It's the worst thing that happened to you, and it could be easy just to say, well, I'm out for so long now. You know, I don't have to stick to my regime. I can have a few drinks, or I'm going to drown my sorrows and things like that. When at the end of the day, those first couple of weeks are the most important when it comes to recovery. And actually, I'm not there holding his hand when he's going out on a Saturday night, but you look at, we just talked about Ronaldo. Look at him.
There's
you know,
there's none of that.
Well, he's not getting caught being pictured in the back lane smoking a cigarette and having a few drinks, is he? You know, he's going to benefit from his regime when he's been younger.
Sad times, and it was another Premier League manager who was lamenting the loss of yet another midfield maestro in Jordan Henderson. Jurgen Klopp also being asked if he was interested in signing Joe Hart. Here's what the Liverpool manager had to say.
He's a fantastic goalkeeper, the goalkeeper of the English national team, so highest quality. But we have highest quality goalkeepers, so that's how it is. It's not for us. Not in a moment, and hopefully not in the future. So that's not because of Joe. No, we think about. We have these two strong goalkeepers, and Wardy's at Huddersfield playing a brilliant season as our player. So bring him back next year, and then there is competition. In this moment, he cannot really train, and so we have to wait for this moment. That was the plan from the beginning. And if something else to say about this, I would say it, but that's nothing. It's exactly this the situation in this moment. But of course, we are in intense talks to different departments and medical departments. So we have to wait. He looks really healthy. Actually, no, but he cannot play football, so that's the situation at the moment. If something changed, then we can talk about it.
He looks really healthy, but he can't play football. Slightly out of order, maybe taken slightly out of context as well, but in all seriousness, there's quite a lot of backtracking going on here about Mamadou Sakho, who it turns out perhaps shouldn't have been treated as badly as he was. Is there a chance that he's going to feel that it's okay? Is he going to be able to get over himself to bring him back into the squad? Because in my eyes, Sakho was probably their best centre-back.
Well, he was right up until the point where he got banned, and him and Lovren had a really nice click towards the end of last season.
He's got that awkward look about him, but he's quite effective.
Yeah, he is. I mean, but funnily enough, the stuff with which Klopp took issue, and maybe he just moved on. I mean, there was an interesting article in The Guardian, an interesting interview in The Guardian today with Mamadou Sakho, and he was saying he was always confident. He knew he'd done nothing wrong, so he was fine about it. It was a very frustrating time. But it did kind of gloss over a little bit the stuff that made Klopp exclude him in pre-season. Right. And it's stuff that happened before. At Paris Saint-Germain, it was clear that he was always fated to become one of the best. He made his debut at 17, and he got given the captain's armband on his debut, because this was how highly he was rated by Paul Le Guen. But the fact is, people thought he had all the natural gifts, but he didn't really work hard enough to make himself who he could be. And Carlo Ancelotti got to that point. He's like, well, you keep making the same mistakes. Your positioning's not getting any better. Your concentration's not getting any better. That's the point where you're going. And maybe Klopp's felt that as well. And this issue, even though he's been very, very unfortunate, it seems, with the ban, maybe that's sort of covering up the fact that Klopp has another reason, another very solid reason for not wanting him on board, allowing for the fact that he has been absolutely fantastic for Palace.
Situations like this, you always think there's more to it than just stubbornness from the manager.
Right. But that's the first time that I've heard him kind of even give any kind of inkling that he would consider bringing him back in. It's been very much a closed door up until this point, almost as if he feels like he's been disrespected, or he's been totally let down, and he's going to put that ruthless effect in, the same way that Guardiola has done with the keeper situation. But this is surely to the detriment of Liverpool if they don't. Top centre-backs are not easy to come by these days.
Yeah, but I mean, can Klopp think that he's going to improve, or he can change the errors that he's making? The thing is, at the point in his career where he thinks, well, he's not going to change what he's doing now, and he can't teach him, so ship him out.
He's been quite impressive at Crystal Palace. Another player who was impressive for London sides, Queen's Park Rangers, Tottenham Hotspur, and is, of course, one of the best England strikers of all time, is the feature star of this week's How Hard. It's Les Ferdinand. Let's have a look at this.
Not only am I here with an England, QPR, Spurs, Newcastle footballing legend and prostate cancer UK ambassador, but I'm here with the 8th leading goal scorer in Premier League history. Sir Les Ferdinand, how are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
I keep going down that list. When I finished playing, I was second. I'm now 8th, but that's 10 years down the line to me.
Exactly. They've got some years on you. But how hard do you reckon you can kick football?
I ain't kicked one for a while, but I'll have a good go at beating your record.
Good luck.
Cheers, thank you.
Les Ferdinand, MBE, attempt number 1. Oh, so that was attempt number 1. And during warm-ups, I had a funny feeling that Les might actually break the record. So attempt number 1, what do you think?
Late 60s.
65. Les Ferdinand, attempt number 2. I feel in danger standing anywhere near.
Yeah, you're fine. Not unless you put yourself in goal.
67.
Climbing.
Climbing there slowly but surely.
I'm not sure I'm going to get to that 70.
Go on, Les! Oh, down he goes. Ref.
I think that's a penalty, to be
That's
fair.
a definite penalty. 69.
That's going to be close.
Ooh. Let's be honest, Les Ferdinand is a certified Premier League legend. Your final score was 69 miles an hour. I've brought back some bad memories as you feed off as well.
It just didn't quite work, you know, it didn't quite work. I think there's something wrong with your phone today, because sometimes they freeze, you know what I mean? Consistently 69, 69.
Yeah. And what are you doing with prostate cancer? You got a bike in
Yeah, from London to Amsterdam. You know, the prostate cancer, and you know, trying to raise 11,000. It's a great cause. You know, the 11,000 we're trying to raise represents 11,000 men that die of it every year.
Yeah, absolute legend. Thank you so much, Les. Cheers, mate.
Legendary performance from Big Les. Not bad, that, even though he's fallen over, he's done. But
how are you trying to disqualify him for falling over?
well, I heard you gave him 16 goes and I only had 4, so I'm a little bit disappointed.
Do you know what though, on a serious one, we were in the middle of doing an outro and he did say, no, I want another go, no, I want another go. Fair play to him. He was getting addicted to it.
The competitive streak is there.
Well, that's because I tried to bring out as much anger in him as possible. I reminded him of that Newcastle-Man United match where he just could not put the ball past Schmeichel, and then Cantona went up the other end and scored a single goal. And then the title changed hands.
He just so happened to skip past you in the table as well with that kick, right?
Shouldn't have done that.
Good effort, Les, well played. Let's just talk about next week's guest on How Hard. In fact, Richie was lucky enough to talk to former England international Emile Heskey. The big man is going to be trying his best to beat Les Ferdinand next week. What did he say?
What is your fondest memory from your career in football?
Difficult to put it into one, because at the end of the day, when the one that everyone remembers is the 5-1 England. But will you say that's your fondest memory? Probably making your debut is probably your fondest memory. Back then, when I was 17, just turned. Yeah, even though the game didn't pan out the way that I wanted it to, but it was just a great achievement for me to be 17 and to be playing adults football, be playing against some of the best players. But then we played against Brazil in the 2002 World Cup, and they had R9, R10 and Rivaldo.
Insane. Who's the best striker that you've actually ever played with?
Probably Michael. We had such a chemistry.
Yeah, him playing off you.
Yeah, and it's not just him playing off me playing with him as well, you know. And we had it from a young age, so it was one of those things that just clicked straight away, and you get that chemistry with the player. And he was 16, I was 18, with England, and it just took us all the way through.
And Emile Heskey, you're going to be taking part in the Star Six tournament in July at the O2 Arena, not representing Algeria, representing England, alongside David James, alongside Stephen Gerrard, Michael Owen, Rio Ferdinand. Hell of a team.
Right, I'm looking forward to that because the competition is hotting up at the top of the How Hard tables. Emile Heskey versus Les Ferdinand results in next week. Make sure you don't miss that one. Let's just talk about the importance quickly of those two guys, though. Emile Heskey, I think, is extremely underrated these days, especially for how easy he made other strikers' jobs. Michael Owen, I've heard him say before that he wouldn't have been half the player without a guy like him next to him, fending off 2-3 defenders at a time. And Les Ferdinand, on the other hand, kind of around at the wrong time. They took the number 9 off him at Newcastle, and he didn't have much luck with England either. But two great strikers.
Yeah, and Ferdinand won it in '99, didn't he? Until the Premier League told him it wasn't on, and he just got stuck with the number 10, like all the best players in world football do. But yeah, he was incredible, and I think with both of those, even though they're very different strikers, you can link them to very specific Premier League high points. So with Les Ferdinand being part of that 94-95 Newcastle United, 95-96 Newcastle United side that came so close to winning the Premier League before Manchester United overhauled them. Right, in the end, yeah, you could say that. But they were terrific to watch.
Yeah,
he was a huge part of that. And that, you know, you could argue, well, they were definitely a better side before Shearer got there. In actual fact, even though he's so synonymous with Newcastle, with Heskey. He's one of those players, you know, when you can tell someone is just ready to step up that level. When he left Leicester and joined Liverpool, well, for the first season and a half after that, people talk about his England exploits and being a foil for Michael Owen and all that stuff. He was absolutely red hot, and he was so ready to step up to that level. And it was just a clear example of, you know, a very good player, being surrounded by better players and being made so much better by them straight away.
It was a classic example of a player who's underappreciated by the fans, especially England when he's playing for England, but really appreciated by the players around him. He talks there about Michael Owen. You know, I played against Emil quite a few times. I've had a few balls whistled past me when I've played against him.
Oh dear, he scored past you?
Yeah, a few times.
Oh dear,
yeah.
from outside the area?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe it's once.
Oh dear, David, mate.
But that's no claim to fame for anybody, that. But when he says about Michael Owen there, when the two of them worked together, it was clear, even playing against them, they had such a good relationship. When if the ball was being played into Emil's chest, you could see, just as the ball's being kicked, Michael Owen knows where the ball's going, so he moves around in front of him, plays off him, and then they start playing again. And again, also when the ball's played into him, if there was any chance of it going around the corner in behind, he was already off before the ball had got to him. That's such a great understanding. It was, I said, he's such an underappreciated player.
Now, from ex-England internationals to future prospects of the national setup, Marcus Rashford coming on and changing the game for Manchester United midweek, and also showing that the tenacity he has, the pace, the direct approach that he has to the game, and the fact that he is a local lad, make him just hugely important. And I just want to touch on youngsters in football now with an article coming out in the last day or so, I believe, stating that 180 out of the 1.5 million boys who play organised youth football are actually going to make it as Premier League footballers. It really does show you how crucial it is to give these guys the opportunity and to follow through with it as well. And ironically enough, the one manager that everyone had doubts about his willingness to play youngsters, Jose Mourinho, is the one who's given the most minutes to teenagers in the Premier League this season, and by quite some distance. I just want to talk about Rashford. How exciting a prospect is he? Is he on, say, Martial's level, or even the most hyped player in European football right now, Mbappe?
I think you could say he's beyond Martial's level.
Right.
I mean, what we think about Martial is so conditioned by the price that Manchester United pay, and I think you could ask most people in France, for example, they'd rather take Mbappe in the national team than Martial, and not just because Martial's had a kind of stop-starty season. They'd rather take Lacazette, even though he's a little bit older, because they come from the similar background. They both come from the Lyon Academy, Martial and Lacazette, and I think a lot of people in France don't feel that Martial is really at that level. But you're right. Let's talk about Rashford, and I think whether Jose Mourinho has done it out of a belief system, or whether he's done it just because it's blindingly obvious that this guy is going to do something for
if he's not involved.
But it is really important. There's been so much talk about Manchester United rediscovering their Manchester Unitedness, and what really does it mean? It's a big deal to have academy players in there.
Right.
And we were talking about this earlier, weren't we, Richie? And the sense that I think a lot of United fans felt that sense of loss when Danny Welbeck went. There was a sporting case for selling him, but the fact that he seemed the last of something that was going out the door, and Rashford has not only replaced that, but been absolutely terrific as well. And the fact that he's started intermittently doesn't seem to have affected him. His attitude's been absolutely spot on, and he's just been ready as a replacement player should be. But his incredible maturity at his age, I think.
Well, I mean, people can question him even now at the young age he is. But look, the stats you've just said there. The fact that he's made it this far determines how good he is, and in the side that he's in the club that he's representing in the minute.
I think he's unbelievable to watch.
Yeah.
It's very rare that I get excited by English talents, to be quite honest. And I think, he's a United player. I look at him and I think, wow, he could fit into any top-level side. He's so exciting. He's got such fearlessness about his game. Maybe that's to do with how young he is as well. But
it's just the way he looks and his sort of his physical appearance. You look at Martial, he looks like an athlete.
Right.
He's built.
Right.
And
He's
even
like a boy. He's been playing schoolboy
exactly.
football.
And even Rashford, as quick as he is, he doesn't look like an athlete. Well, not an athlete in the sense that Martial is.
Yeah.
But look at him. He's just brilliant.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts, Richie. Obviously, you're a United fan. Do you prefer when Rashford's on? I mean, is, say, a Rashford goal more important? Is that something that you'd prefer to savour than an Ibrahimovic goal?
I would much rather see a Marcus Rashford winning goal than Zlatan Ibrahimovic, because obviously Marcus Rashford, born and raised in Manchester, he's Manchester through and through. Zlatan Ibrahimovic has been around the block, been there, done it, from Sweden, so it wouldn't mean as much to him as well, and we definitely sense that, you know, as Manchester United fans. Same as if, you know, Alex Iwobi ever scored for Arsenal.
Oh, the low blows. Honestly. Okay, we'll move on swiftly. Breaking news for you now, in that we are going to cross to Downing Street, where it turns out a special contender has emerged to be the next Prime Minister.
I've spoken to my coaching team, Rayo Faria and the bold one, and I've decided I'm going to run for election on June 8th. I think I'm the man to take this country forward, while also keeping us tight at the back.
What do you make of your main rivals, Jose?
Theresa May, she lies. She always blames other people, and she keeps switching her loyalty to different sides. Nothing like me. Jeremy Corbyn, he's a specialist in failure. He will win nothing. Paul Notel, he's an idiot ballman in charge of a joke team, just like Pep.
And don't forget the Lib Dems and Tim Farron.
What is the Lib Dems?
They are the party that say all the right things, but they came fourth in the last election.
A bit like Arsenal.
No, well, I suppose they are.
I will beat them all. I'm the special one. I will show the world what a great politician I am. My defense policy will be the strongest in Europe. My budget will be bigger than all my opponents, and I will make the UK economy at least top 6 in the world.
You really think you can do all that in 4 years?
4 years? No. I will stay for 2, max 3.
And after that, what?
I will leave this country in a mess, like I always do wherever I go.
At least you're honest, Jose, which is more than can be said for the rest of them.
That is true. That is true. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, we could probably do a whole lot worse for contenders for Prime Minister. I'd say that Arsene Wenger would make a darn good candidate. Anyhow, it's time to have a look at the weekend's odds surrounding all the biggest games and talking points, and I'm delighted to say that back again in the building is 888sport ambassador and betting expert Emma Spencer. Welcome back, Emma. Good to have you here.
Yeah, good evening. All good?
Fantastic. Hopefully you've got some non-Arsenal Arsene Wenger stuff for us this week.
Do you know, I was just about to say, I think this is the first programme when I'm not going to mention Arsene Wenger or Arsenal, but it is a weekend, of course, dominated predominantly by the FA Cup,
yes,
and also by the draws that, of course, came out today. So let's have a look at how we bet for the Champions League outright after we discovered that Real Madrid will be of course, playing Atletico, and Juventus will be playing Monaco. Real Madrid, 17-10 favourite. They, of course, play on the 2nd of May. Juventus 13-8, Atletico Madrid at 4. Is that about right? Is that how you would price it out?
Yeah, I'd say so. I want to see a Real Madrid-Juventus final, Ronaldo against Buffon. I think it was exactly the draw that Atletico Madrid wanted. They didn't want to have Real in the final. They much prefer to have them over 2 legs, so it's worked out well for everyone, I think.
What do you think?
Well, I can't see how it really works in Real Madrid's favour having to play Atletico twice. I mean, that is going to be exhausting in anyone's language. And you look at how tired they were towards the end of the.
No, I'm saying
Atletico
final works out for Atletico.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. But I think maybe this gives Juventus a little bit of a boost. I think they can see off Monaco, so maybe it could be their year.
Yeah, let's bring up the draws on screen there. Real Madrid, Atletico, Monaco, Juventus, Ajax, Lyon, Celta Vigo against Manchester United. Europa League?
Yeah, Manchester United, this could be their derby this year, couldn't it? And they are the odds-on favourites to win this. They're 5-6. Lyon at 11-4. What do we think? Is this going to be where Jose triumphs?
Yeah, I think so, but it's far from an easy game. I think I took a bit of an interest in them.
They're
Celta
really
Vigo.
good.
Well,
right?
it's such that over the last few years they've had a lot of Danish players.
Right.
Like the sad person I am, I follow Danish players wherever they play.
One of my favourites, Sisto.
Yeah, Sisto, and they've got Vass as well, Daniel Vass, who's at Bromby as well, left side defender. So it's not going to be an easy tie for them. Out of these two ties, I'd like to see Ajax Man United final. Classic 70.
I think more likely is a Lyon United final. I think Lyon, having beaten Roma and Besiktas in the last 2 rounds, would be pretty happy with that. I think everyone's got a little bit overexcited with Ajax, talking about Danish players, just because they were fantastic in the first leg of the quarter against Schalke. But you have to be realistic and say Lyon are quite a bit better than them. But yeah, it all just reinforces the fact that United are really heavy favourites for the trophy, I think.
Well, closer to home this weekend, I mentioned that dominated mainly by the FA Cup, the semi-finals, but of course both at Wembley. Man City, Arsenal Sunday, Chelsea Spurs on Saturday. What do we think here? Man City are the 2-1 favourites to win this. Chelsea 23-10, Tottenham 3-1. Arsenal. This is their only mention in the programme at 5.
Yeah, we've got our work cut out, I reckon. I would love to say that Arsene Wenger's record in the FA Cup is something that they'll be hoping to keep up. However, the form that they've been in recently, I don't have much faith. Hopefully they can rise to the occasion. However, I won't be including them in my choices for this week. Just got no faith left. Massive games though. I'll be there. Hope it all pays off.
Do you think Man City deserve their place at the top of the market?
Yeah, probably. I think whoever wins this, I think the two favourites in my mind are Spurs and Chelsea, Man City, because those two managers, they need something. They need some silverware, especially Pochettino, and I also think that Chelsea, they know the pressure's on in the league, in the Premier League now. That's where their focus is going to be. So I do fancy Tottenham.
I mean, there's that tantalising prospect of a North London derby final, but then I just think about the state of the emotional state after losing the final.
He's the optimistic Arsenal fan till he dies.
Wouldn't be good. It would not be good. What about John Terry and his next move?
Well, what about Terry? Because I think this market's quite interesting. Where's he going to go next? 1-2. To go to a Portuguese club, any Portuguese club. I think that's right out there. Bournemouth 3-1, West Brom 3-1. Bournemouth's the obvious one, but
this is really quite left.
Has anyone heard any Portuguese links around here?
No, but at 1-2, somebody knows something. Well, that.
Yeah. Has he got a villa in Portugal, by any chance?
Well, I think he probably does, but does he want to go and live there? He's a home boy, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean there's going to be plenty
of played away from home a few times.
There's going to be plenty of golfing with his top off anyway, isn't there? If that was the case, I just don't see how this is a goer unless it's some sort of charity project on his behalf. Because there's no way that anyone in the Portuguese league can afford anywhere near his wages. I think Premier League or somewhere exotic has to be.
The only way I think that can be a goer is if it's kind of like a Mourinho link where he goes there and he starts off his coaching career and he looks more long term. That's the only way I can see it, really.
I mentioned that he's a homeboy. You'd think, looking at where he's most likely to go, he'd love to play again, wouldn't he? And I think he still very much believes he can at the top level. Bournemouth would be an obvious link, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would do, but also, I know there's a lot of talk about West Bromwich Albion as well, which is fitting there with Tony Pulis's over 35 team.
Oh yeah, but he gets told off for passing to his teammates too much. if you've got over 40% possession per game, he hits the roof.
So we don't know. We're none the wiser, but 1-2 doesn't look value, but you think someone knows something if the market's saying that.
Yeah, exactly, if it's that short, yeah.
Strange but true, and stranger things have happened. However, it's now time for this week's betting battle with 888sport.
This is about as common as Arsenal losing every week.
Every week our panel are given £10 each by 888sport to bet on whoever they think is going to come out on top, and as per usual, we've all flunked. Zeros all across the board, but we won't dwell on that. What we will dwell on is the fact that we've raised £234.45 for a charity that I don't think we've chosen yet. However, we're going to try and change things around this week.
Do you think this figure's moved in about the last?
It hasn't moved in the last month, but
Sure,
we're not dwelling on that.
Accrued some interest on it, no?
Let's take a look at what we've got this week. Okay, right. There's the fixtures, some tasty ones in there.
Let's start with Andy. Now, Andy, what have you gone for here?
I've gone for Monaco.
Quite an exotic bet here. You're looking to boost
He's
the
gone
profits.
for something that's not even on the list. I mean,
He's strayed way off piece.
It's an obvious one. I've gone for Monaco to win at Lyon by at least 2 clear goals.
And that's 9-1.
They both had big European weeks. But the fact is, Lyon finished on Thursday night, extra time and penalties against Besiktas. The Europa League is all they're interested in, whereas Monaco are chasing the title. Now, I think you're getting a bit of extra value for this because Lyon won this fixture 6-1 last season, but the teams have changed a lot since. Lyon are exhausted, they're going to rest a load of starters, and Alex Lacazette, their top scorer, is injured. So
And you said that was 9-1?
Yeah.
Wow, incredible. I mean, Andy, with
We
that
need Andy
inside
adding-
information.
Adding to the.
If I don't win, I'll be absolutely devastated.
David, once again, you haven't gone for one, you've gone for a couple, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Spurs and Man City double.
4-1.
4-1, it's not bad that.
And Hugh,
Shocking, I'm disappointed in you, mate.
you're being brave again.
I'm always brave.
Gone were the days when Hugh used to pile into a 1-2 shot. He now goes for these crazy exotic sort of trebles.
Because when they come off big, right? And we are yet again
Sadly,
going big.
it doesn't happen very
It doesn't happen that
often.
much, but when it does, when it rains, it pours, people. Okay? I've chosen an informed Crystal Palace side to get the better of Liverpool, who I know have been impressive, and I know I can hear there's all kinds of comments going on in the back. This guy's delusional. Where did you get this guy? However, I like what Sam's doing at the moment. Benteke seems to be back. Kabai's playing well. Zaha looks absolutely on fire. I really hope that they can pull that off because I'm trying to raise money for charity out here, lads. And also, I've been incredibly impressed with Silva at Hull. His home record over the last 3 years, I think he's unbeaten at the last 3 clubs he's been at. And Watford hopefully have got enough points already in the bag to be satisfied with where they lie in the Premier League table. So my double is Hull City and Crystal Palace.
And that would pay 11-1.
Ooh, come on, the lads. Best of luck to everyone. That is about all for this week's betting battle. Emma, as usual, it's an absolute pleasure having you on board.
Thank you.
Hopefully you guys are all going to be quids in and we can make loads of money for charity. Now, it's time for this week's 5 facts, and where we had a look at the incredible rate of success, and Dion delving in a little bit earlier. We're going to have 5 facts about Cristiano Ronaldo. Now you guys have been going crazy with the comments and with an update on exactly what you've been saying on social media. Here is Richie the Main Man Dress.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that Hugh's opinions on Liverpool and Crystal Palace do not represent those of me or Joe.co.uk at all.
I can't wait for that Sam Allardyce 3 points in the bag.
Speaking of Liverpool, I think I've angered a lot of people with this vote. I think a few tables have been flipped, a few pints have been thrown.
I told you, Klopp deserved to be in there.
In anger. Chris Lloyd, typical Manc bias. Why no Klopp? He's the best manager in the league by miles.
He's right.
Robbie League, that vote is laughable. How isn't Klopp a selection there? Only unbeaten manager in the top 6 when facing each other. It's a good point. And Kevin Geary says sack 'em all. Fair enough.
Easily done.
Yeah.
It should be noted that Klopp's record against top 6, as was pointed out there, it's been exemplary and untested. So I do question whoever puts these votes together, i.e. Richie Driss. Moving swiftly on, right? It's now time for this week's transfer chat. Right then, we've got major news in that Gareth Bale's been linked with a move to Manchester United, possibly even, although probably not, with a swap with David De Gea, who looks to be going in the other direction.
No. Big pile of nonsense.
I mean, that's what I said.
Come on.
These swap deals never happen.
He's just signed a new contract. He's not going anywhere.
Okay.
He's the future Real Madrid.
You could take the second half of that and make it happen. David De Gea to go into Madrid. We've talked about it before. That's it.
Any potential replacements that you could see going in? We've talked about the fact that Klopp isn't interested in Joe Hart. Could he be interested in a Pickford? Could he be interested elsewhere?
Well, the thing is with Klopp, I mean, he's come out and said that he's denied that he's interested in in Joe Hart.
He called Mignolet world class.
Yeah, but do you know what? There's probably not much to call between the two of them, and it's actually worked out perfectly for him. Whether it was what he meant to happen or what he thought would happen, that's a different matter. But him dropping Karius and Mignolet coming back in, Mignolet has performed very well.
He's been much better,
since he
right?
come back. Yeah, of course. There's been a hell of an improvement in there, whether it's down to just the pressure being taken off him because he thought that his future wasn't there at the club anymore. So he's turned around and he's done what his manager wants. His manager wants him to prove him wrong. Show me that I was wrong to drop you. He's done that. And also it's given Karius a little bit more time to settle in. And I think the start of next season, he's got an ideal situation where he'll have two goalkeepers that are like ready to fight it out.
Okay, so from quite outlandish to possibly quite realistic, Michael Keane linked to the move back to Manchester United, maybe even Everton. He looks to have really impressed so many people that it's almost like inevitable that a move is going to happen over the summer now.
Yeah, he's come a really long way. He's been terrific in the Premier League, and I'm sure he's going to become more and more part of it for England. So I'm not sure exactly where he'll end up, but it will be one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League, and it's going to cost them a fortune.
Fantastic for Burnley, if anything, quits in after that. And of course, back to the mega deals, I guess, with Manchester City looking to cash in and bring a top-class centre-back in. There's talk of Leo Bonucci, one of the smartest men in Italian football, being linked with Pep Guardiola. Is this likely to happen? They're definitely going out for a big guy. He strikes me as integral to what Juventus do, though.
He strikes me as a blinger. I think he's wearing Steph Curry's mouth guard there. Those teeth need brushing, Leo.
Something going on there with his teeth.
Okay, I mean, answers on a postcard or in the comments section. Is he wearing a gum shield? Is that plaque tartar build-up? I'm not sure quite what we're dealing with. Is that important? Is he going to City?
No.
No.
I think he's the last player Juventus would want to get rid of. And they've sold very well in recent years. So they're in an absolutely terrific financial position. They've no need to sell and they don't want to sell.
Of those three centre-backs, I look at Bozzagli, Chiellini, Bonucci. Bonucci strikes me as the one that they'd probably want to keep hold of the most. He is.
They would, because the other two are a little bit older, which I think is a big deal. And Bozzagli is almost backing up the other two as they're playing with a 4 rather than a 3 at the moment. Yeah, but Bonucci has been absolutely tremendous for them, and I think for the last probably 2 years now, he's been the best centre back in Italian football, and arguably the best in European football, because Thiago Silva's had his injury issues, of course.
What I like about him is his passing is so intelligent as well. He could almost play in midfield or like a holding role or whatever.
Yep.
That kind of thing, it rings a bell with Pep Guardiola, but they would have to splash the cash if they were to get anywhere near this guy, surely.
Yeah, exactly. And it would have to be, maybe it's not world record money, but it'll be right up there, because there isn't anybody like him at all. His awareness, his positioning, the two of them together are just so calm. They trust each other. Plus Buffon, they trust each other, they know each other's game inside out, and you only see them doing last-ditch tackles or stretching for balls when it's necessary. Yeah. Other than that, when they're going to block balls on the edge of the box, they place themselves in front of the ball and the goal and getting in the way all the time, and there's no luck to that.
I mean, Allegri's got to be massively credited for the speed at which he has built the side that he's taken over. Defensively, they look so good. I love this guy, Alexandro, at left back. He's so good on the ball. He is an honorary member so far of what I call True Ballers FC. Anyhow, a quick comment on the PFA Team of the Year. Any omissions that you would have liked to see involved, and reasons why you think they weren't? Very briefly.
Yeah, I think David De Gea, his inclusion, I think it's
questionable.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, where's Lloris?
Yeah.
Not
just that. There's Tom Heaton's been great all year. Even
Courtois.
Maybe, but I think even I love the story of Lee Grant. You know, coming from a Championship side where he couldn't get a game, and he's playing the way he is at a high level in the Premier League. That's a great story as well. Surprised that hasn't been picked up. But having said that, I've filled in a PFA form before. I've sat there. And
nonchalantly, apparently.
Well, this is it. I mean, you don't just pick the best players from that season or the player who you think is the best player in that position. You know. Are
you picking your mates?
Well, there is that. Yeah, there is. I mean, especially in each division. You know, you pick the team of the PFA team of the year from Premier League, and they pick one from your own division if you're in Championship, League 1, League 2. most of the time, yeah, you're right, you'll pick your mates, or if you're playing against somebody, if you're playing the Premier League against somebody and that's the only time you ever see them, you're not getting a great impression of that person. And if you're playing up against them, you're not really going to be their best friend.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So, and you're not going to like them. So when
you scratch mine, I scratch yours.
Well,
is going on all over the
well,
place.
it's just that you just won't pick them.
Right. No. And with news on who you guys have picked as the best Premier League manager of the moment is Richie Driss.
Yes, thank you very much for getting those votes in. Question that we asked at the top of the show was, who is the best Premier League manager? Your options were Conte, Mourinho, Guardiola or Mauricio Pochettino. The votes are in fourth place with a grand total of 3%, because you do not rate him at all, Pep Guardiola. In third place with a slightly more respectable 21%, Chelsea's Antonio Conte. In second place, with a total of 32%, my personal pick, Mauricio Pochettino. But in first place, you voted the best Premier League manager, and who am I to argue? With 44% of the vote, Manchester United's Jose Mourinho. But obviously, we angered a lot of Liverpool fans. If you like, Jurgen Klopp won, but he didn't. So
incredible turnarounds. Jose turns up for the books, a special one, still highly thought of, especially after that victory against Chelsea. Long way to go in the Europa Cup and the rest of the Premier League. But that is about all for this week. I want to thank you guys for joining in and subscribing on YouTube. We're on Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, Snapchat, and all the other social medias that exist out here. I want to thank 888sport and this lovely panel for what has been a very interesting and exciting chat throughout. For now, though, I've been Hugh Wizzy, and this has been Football Friday Live. See you next time, guys. Peace.